Can you remember what was happening before the internet? Before Facebook, YouTube, Google, Yahoo, Lycos, AOL. Most people weren't online. I remember that time. You'd get your Windows updates on a disk, a service pack, and hardly anyone ever got any viruses because we weren't all interconnected back then. Now with the all-encompassing internet as we have it, social media, mobile phones, everyone connected to everyone else at all times, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of vulnerabilities out there. It's a pretty dangerous place to be. It used to be you'd just fire up your computer, do what you needed to do, print off your files, print off your community newsletter, make your poster for the village fete, do your accounts and export it as a file on a floppy disk or something. Yeah, that's how we were connected, portable storage. But yeah, before the internet, there was something else. And we're going to try and get it now. Gopher. Okay. Let's try it out, shall we? Yeah, look. That looks like a website address, doesn't it? Alright. Welcome to the wonderful world of Gopher. Gopher has limitations on its use and comes without a warranty. Please refer to the file copyright included in the distribution. Internet Gopher Information Client 3, Patch 12. Furry Terror. Okay, Furry Terror. Copyright 1991 to 2000 by the Regents of the University of Minnesota. Copyright 2000 to 2005, John Gerzen and the Gopher developers. Press return to continue. Alright. The home Gopher server. Okay, so I guess we've only got one menu option there, which is Gopher Plus. Alright. You are entering the Gopherspace. All visitors are welcome to come. Settle down and become an inhabitant of the Gopherspace. Here is a little introduction for you newcomers. Getting started with Gopher, which is Floodgap, which is a portal in the Gopherspace. But let's have a look at the Gopherspace story. The tale of Gopher and the World Wide Web. Once upon a time, in the vast digital landscape, there was a lonely little gopher. He wasn't the most famous of creatures in the internet kingdom, but he had something special. A deep underground network that could transport data at lightning speeds. He lived in his cozy little gopher hole, surrounded by tunnels leading to countless treasures, file servers, email archives, and text-based wonders. One day, the Gopher decided to take a trip up to visit his cousin, WWW, World Wide Web. Now, WWW was a big deal. He was shiny, flashy, full of bright pictures and videos, and everyone knew him. He was the popular kid in the digital world. The kind that could do everything. He could stream videos, host social media, run games, and occasionally spill coffee on his motherboard. Everyone loved WWW because, well, he looked great and could do everything without even breaking a sweat. But Gopher? He wasn't into flashy things. He liked his simple text-based world where things were clear, functional, and didn't need to be updated every 5 minutes. So Gopher decided to pay a visit. Gopher arrived at WWW's mansion and knocked on the door. WWW dressed in a shiny new CSS suit and dripping with JavaScript, opened up. "Hey Gopher, what's up? You've been so quiet lately. Everyone's about me. I've got memes and e-commerce and virtual reality. Come check out my new features. I've got a loading spinner that's interactive." Gopher looked around, a little confused. "Wow, it's so flashy. How do you even find anything in here?" WWW laughed. "Oh, it's easy. Just use Google, or Bing, or DuckDuckGo, or, well, I have a few hidden pages, but, they're not for you. Look at all my tabs. I have 150 tabs open right now. I can barely keep track of them, but people love me for it." Gopher, feeling a little lost, asked, "Okay, but how do you handle all of this? All these updates, all the ads, the constant notifications?" WWW let out a loud, dramatic sigh. "Oh, Gopher, don't even get me started. I'm just too big now. I get calls every day from my server farm. They're, 'WWW, you're too slow. Your servers can't handle all the traffic.' And I'm like, I'm trying my best, but hey, I've got a new update coming out. Don't worry about me. Just refresh your browser and it will all be fine." Gopher nodded sympathetically. "I get it. It must be exhausting. I'm just down in my Gopher hole living the simple life. I've got a small but loyal following, I don't need to update every 5 minutes. I just handle text, no distractions. And the best part, no pop-up ads." WWW rolled his eyes, dramatically tossing a floating ad banner aside. "Ah, yes, Gopher, the good old days, but I hear that some folks are still trying to find you. They've forgotten you even exist. You're stuck in the Gopher hole, and they're all too busy watching cat videos on me to care. Ha! At least my servers aren't forced to watch cat videos. They come for simplicity, the quiet calm of browsing files without the constant risk of clicking on the wrong thing and getting a malware infection." WWW, feeling a little self-conscious, fluffed his 404 error page and said, "Well, at least I've got everything. My servers are massive, my traffic goes through the roof, and I have more pages than anyone can count. I'm limitless, and hey, I'm still working on some upgrades. Next I'm going to add flying GIFs that follow you around the page. People love those." "Sure," Gopher replied, grinning, "and I bet they all love the 15 that follow right along with them." WWW's smile faltered. Okay, maybe I have a few kinks to iron out, but hey, I've got some nice modern JavaScript animations that will keep users engaged. How about you? You're still on that text-based thing? No images? No clickable elements? No funny videos of dogs playing the piano?" Gopher grinned, leaning back in his tiny Gopher chair. WWW, sometimes it's nice not to have to deal with all the noise, and between you and me, I'm still the one you turn to when the Wi-Fi goes down. The internet might be all of your flashy content, but when the servers crash, people remember that Gopherspace is still there. Simple, fast, and error-free. WWW, now realizing Gopher had a point, sighed. "Alright, you win. I guess I get a little overwhelmed sometimes." Gopher patted him on the back. "Don't worry, buddy. You've got this. Take a step back. Maybe delete some cookies and have a good nap. Meanwhile, I'll be here, just keeping things simple." And so Gopher went back to his little hole in the ground where everything worked perfectly and there were no distractions. Meanwhile, WWW remained above ground, dazzling the world with his infinite tabs, endless pop-ups, and perpetual need for more data. As for the World Wide Web, well, he's still trying to figure out how to refresh himself and get his content to load on time. But no matter how many times you hit F5, sometimes it's just time to reboot. The end. Or is it? Buffering. Okay, so that's what Gopher is. It's what was around before the WWW, with all its flashy bells and whistles. Yeah, the text formatting wasn't particularly great just there. But, so why is Gopher relevant? Let's have a look at that. Most people who get Gopher are already using it and instinctively understand why Gopher is still useful and handy. On the other hand, people who inhabit the web generation after Gopher's decline only see Gopherspace as a prototype web or a historical curiosity, not a world in its own right. And more to the point, being only such a prototype, there is the wide belief that Gopher plays no relevant role in today's internet and is therefore unnecessary. This has led to many regrettable consequences, such as the neglect of servers and clients, or even active removal of support. However, there is much to be gained from the heterogeneous network environment where there are multiple methods of information access, and while the web will confidently remain the primary means of internet information dissemination, there continues to be a role for Gopher-based resources even in this modern age. Gopher and the web can and should continue to coexist. The misconception that the modern renaissance of Gopherspace is simply a reaction to web overload is unfortunately often repeated, and while superficially true, demonstrates a distinct lack of insight. From a purely interface perspective, there is no question that Gopher could be entirely subsumed under the web, technical differences to be discussed presently. Very simple HTML menus and careful attention to hierarchy would yield an experience very much like Gopher menu. And some have done exactly that as a deliberate protest against the sensory overload of modern Web 2. Web 2, when was this written? Gopher, however, is more than a confederated affiliation of networks with goals of minimalism. Rather, Gopher is a mindset on making structure out of chaos. On the web, even if such a group of confederated webmasters existed, it requires their active and willful participation to maintain such a hierarchical style, and the seamlessness of that joint interface breaks down abruptly as soon as one leaves for another page. Within Gopherspace, all Gophers work the same way, and all Gophers organize themselves around similar menus and interface conceits. It is not only easy and fast to create Gopher content in this structured and organized way, it is mandatory by its nature. Resulting from this mandate is the ability for users to navigate every Gopher installation in the same way they navigated the one they came from, and the next one they will go to, just like it had been envisioned by its creators. Gopher takes the strict hierarchical nature of a file tree or a FTP and turns it into a friendlier format that still gives the fast and predictable responses that they would get by simply browsing their hard drive. He's talking about DOS or Unix. As an important consequence, by divorcing interface from information, Gopher sites stand and shine on the strength of their content and not the glitz of their bling. Furthermore, Gopher represents the ability to bring an interconnected browsing experience to low computing power environments rather than the expense of large hosting power and bandwidth. Gopher uses an inexpensive protocol to serve and a trivial menuing format to pass, making it cost-effective for both client and server. Gopher sites can be hosted and downloaded effectively on bandwidth-constrained networks such as dial-up and even low-speed wireless. And clients require little more than the TCP stack and minimal client software to navigate them. In an environment where there are cries for green computing and green data centers, along with large-scale media attention on emerging technology markets in developing nations and the proliferation of wireless technology with limited CPU and memory, it is hypocritical to this author why an established protocol such as Gopher would be bypassed for continued reliance on inefficient programming paradigms and expensive protocols. Indeed, this sort of network doublethink has wrought large, unwieldy solutions such as WAP, a dramatic irony since, in the case of many low-power devices such as consumer mobile phones, this is really dated, the explanation, isn't it? WAP, when did that disappear? A dramatic irony since, in the case of many low-power devices such as consumer mobile phones, the menu format used on them is nearly completely analogous to what Gopher already offered over a decade earlier. More to the point, few in that market segment support the breadth of WAP, and those that can simply use a regular web browser instead. Finally, if web and Gopher can coexist in the client's purview, they can also exist in the servers. HTML can be served by both Gopher servers and web servers, or a Gopher menu can be clothed in CSS, translated to HTML, and given to a web browser. Indeed, there's a Gopher add-on for Google Chrome, and in its native form to a Gopher client. This approach yields a natural and highly elegant consequence. If you don't want to choose strictly one way or the other, To communicate to your users, choose neither and offer them both a structured low bandwidth approach or a higher bandwidth web view, built from the same content. The precedent of a single serving solution offering both to both clients has been in existence since the early days of the web, with tools such as GN, and today with more modern implementations such as Gopher. Wow, I guess that's Python based. Gopher menus are so trivial to pass that they can easily be HTMLified with simple scripts and act as the basis for both morphs. What's more, their data-oriented approach means they require little work to construct and maintain, and content creation in general becomes simple and quick with the interface step already taken care of. Plus, many servers easily generate dynamic Gopher menus with built-in executable support, providing the interactive nature demanded by many modern applications, while still fitting into Gopher's hierarchical format. And virtually all modern Gopher servers can aggregate links to web content to forge bidirectional connections. Modern Gopherspace represents the next and greatest way for alternative information access, and that's what this is really. Alternative information access. We're going back to the old school here to get our information without being distracted by ads and flashiness. I'm going to exit out of this because I'm tripping over my tongue now, so let's exit out of that. Okay, so here's some links. Bitreich is working on documentation of how Gopher is used today. I don't want to have a look at that, thank you. Right, okay. Search the Gopherspace using Quarry. Where was the flood gap thing? Getting started with Gopher. Let's have a look at that with flood gap. So flood gap is one of the main hubs now, and I guess we've also got down here Quarry and Veronica 2. So yeah, this is text-based internet without the www part. Alright. Flood gap systems, Gopher root, welcome to Gopherspace. These documents and files should help you get started with using and creating Gopher content. Does this Gopher menu look correct? I should think it does. A brief introduction to Gopherspace. Why is Gopher still relevant? Yeah, see, we're talking about 2010 there. Let's have a look at this Wired article from 2010. The web is dead, long live the internet. Okay, reprinted from Wired, August 2010. The web is dead, long live the internet, August 17, 2010. Okay. 2 decades after its birth, the World Wide Web is in decline as simpler, sleeker services, think apps, are less about the searching and more about the getting. Chris Henderson explains how this new paradigm... Look. I mean, I could read and read, but my mouth is getting dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out. You've had a basic idea of what Gopher is, and indeed how you can run it on Ubuntu, and even Google Chrome on whatever you're running that piece of shitware on. Yeah, so it's the internet before the internet, and it's information serving at very, very, very low bandwidth in your terminal. I thought I'd have a look at it. I'm going to do a bit more exploring, and if I find anything really exciting and interesting, I'll do another video, but this is it. Gopher, Gopherspace. I'd recommend you have a little bit of a play yourself. Cheers for watching. How do I get out? Q to quit, there we go. Really quit, yeah. Now we're back in the terminal. Sweet as. So yeah, your terminal's a web browser now. Who knew? Oh yeah, there's licks in there. But that's for another day. Thanks for watching.